everyone, back for Tag Tuesday and number 39. Just got a little bit of old tablecloth here. I think it's a reasonably coarse linen. Now I already had a go at this because I did have some Bondi web that I'd bought ages ago and it was still sitting there, but I hadn't used it. So I've ironed on, and I hope I've done it right. It looks like if I iron this onto here, this will stick. So I'm going to cut them out and see how we go. Maybe I'll just test one. Seems to me that should come off. All right, yes, there is just a very, very fine bit of material there. All right, I think I've got it right. It's always a bit of a worry when you haven't done something before, whether or not you're getting the right organisation. Whether you've got your instructions right, whether you've remembered them properly. Now, what I used, in Australia, I didn't have wax paper. So what I've used, this is just a little bit of old style greaseproof paper. I like the idea of coming back to use the bits and pieces that we'd already kind of made last week. Really keeps it sort of in coherence, I guess. That's the word I wanted to say. Don't know, I don't have words at the moment this week. So the funny thing about, I've been thinking about words, and I've been thinking about how we use them or not use them. Sometimes I'm just in my own head. But what I found fascinating was looking back over my Facebook for, I don't know, the last maybe year? No, 2 years. I looked back over 2 years because I had a little reminder. You know how you get a little reminder? A little reminder about how, like, oh, here, 2 years ago you went to Paris, or I think 3 years ago now. It's nearly 3 years since I was in Paris. But 2 years ago to Vietnam. And I looked back at just the posts I was making and the little things I was talking about and what was of concern to me at the time. And I was surprised how little I use Facebook anymore, because I just don't have anything to say. It's fascinating. Don't have anything to prove to anyone, don't have anything to say. Just happy to doodle along with my arts and crafts. That's not to say in the past I haven't had a lot to say. Oh boy. It looks like a little snow glove, doesn't it? Anyway, my flatmate, she's just got back from a very big ride on her bike. And let the cat in and you'll be able to hear her. She'll be coming up to tell me about it. Tell me all about it. Alright, this is working well, I'm liking it. I've got a couple of extra bits because I made a whole heap of little ones. When I go and iron these on, I'll bring them back to show you, because I made a whole heap of little extra ones that I think are going to be a little collage when I piece them all together on something. So we'll see how that goes. Now I wonder, see that bit there in the middle? It's not sticky. Makes a bit of a pattern. I think it's alright. Might be having too many things. Let's have a look. So we've got school holidays happening at the moment, and we've had protests, we've had people vandalising vaccination sites, we've had all kinds of things, and that's a little bit of a worry because my sister actually does admin for one of the vaccination sites, so I just worry that she'll be alright. Oh, here's Amelia. You can hear her having a little whinge. So far, she's been out of the city, so she's been fine. But, yeah, we don't need any extra stuff like that, do we? We don't need to worry about our family on top of worrying if they're getting sick, because my family has quite a few high-level people with more things to worry about, a few health issues. Worrying about my sister being where there's violence is just not what I need, really. She doesn't need it either. Anyway, we live in very weird times, and that's probably why I've had nothing to say on Facebook, because all there is people arguing about who's right about what, who's right about that, who's right about this, who's right about this, and I just don't want to know about it. Get on with my life. Anyway, that was a bit of a rant. That's all I had to say. About the stupid times we live in. Yes, hello Amelia, I know you're there. I don't know if this is going on because it's quite big and long, but I'm assuming that if I iron them all down and something overlaps something, it's not going to be a problem. Right, here we go. Weird and wonderful shapes on this one. I love that little mitten. So I think it's not winter here, it's spring. It's going into summer sooner or later, next 2 months. These just look like little scraps rather than shapes, but I want to use the same colours that I used. Right, so I'm in. She's just knocked something over, as she does. Let's make this a random. I am actually overlapping them so that there's some cohesion. Feels like a Salvador Dali or Matisse kind of patterns, geometric shapes. Because it's breaking up all the blue. Here's the little glove in the middle. Mitten. Alright, now if I put this over this and go and iron it, that should work out. I'll be back. Right, I did it, but most of it's worked. There's a few bits that haven't stuck down, and I can feel the stickies on the back. They just haven't adhered for some reason. Yeah, I had a hot iron. Maybe it wasn't hot enough, but that's all right. We can now do some stitching. All right, now I've been still using, so this is my tag from last time, and I used a silver to stitch. So I might keep it in the same family, but I thought I'd show. So I've been using still the same materials but silver to stitch. So I've been making just little tiny weeny little snippets that could be used for anything really. And I was just having a play with different layers and different ones on the top, and I found that the patterns in this blue, even though we were doing it abstract with Anne last week, the patterns in this light blue kind of meant that I could cut flowers out and circles. So I was enjoying that, and then I was enjoying a bit of extra, just putting on extra little bits and having bits. So they're kind of all ready to go, like a little collage. Then I thought, well, what if I do a bigger piece? So I've mixed different material. I've got a satin, then this kind of, I don't know what this is. It's one of those, you know, those materials that feel really weird. It's one of them. Then a kind of a Christmas stack from one of those fat quarters, folded up ones. So I've been experimenting, and then I thought I'll experiment with cutting the whole thing away entirely. So that's what I've been doing during the week to explore that. And now I've got these. So as I was saying, I might just like to continue with the silver. So what's going on in everybody else's worlds? Tell me in the comments. So I liked seeing Anne actually going around the outside of some of hers. That was a nice way of enhancing them, because they're already stuck down. But I'm also aware that some of mine are sticking up, so I'm going to have to do something. Oh, that's not really showing up. That's not showing up very well on that white. Oh, no, changed my mind. We're allowed to. About that. That's very bright, but maybe I'm going to give that a go. It's actually also very thick. Just around one or two things perhaps, because it's quite bright. The red thread. If anyone knows about the red thread, follow the red thread of your life. And some days I'm just waffling on. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Actually, oh yeah, okay, so here's the story. Talking about waffling, because I just realised, I think when you get into isolation and you're on your own a lot, even if you've got people around you, you do tend to get a little bit into your head, don't you? But we had our, okay, so in Australia we have AFL football, which is football. So it's not like gridiron or rugby or soccer, it's a different game altogether. And our grand final was on the other day. And so, of course, my flatmate is a sports person and loves sports, so I said to her, do you want to watch the grand final? Because we had done that last year, so, you know, it's a bit of a yearly occasion. And so she said, yeah, that'll be fun. Because we haven't really been hanging out much at all, because I've been seeing Lily and Huss. So we were being a bit more cautious about any risk. But we're all double vaccinated now, so we're just like, why are we not seeing anyone now? That's ridiculous. Anyway, that probably blends in a bit better. So I said to Huss, come over and watch the grand final. Do you want to come over and watch the final? I didn't tell him to. I didn't order him. I just said, would you like to come and watch the grand final? But he was, okay, so he was a very well-known soccer player in Somalia back in the day, which, it's funny because when you meet people, you know, in your 50s and your 60s, you start a relationship with someone who has this massive history. And, you know, of course, I have a massive history as well, and we both have two daughters in their 20s, so we've sort of got that similar thing happening. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But we have, I don't mind watching, I don't want to watch football every week. I find the noise is terrible. I think all those shouting men drinking beer and throwing things is not the best environment that I want to be in. I know not everyone that follows football's like that, but he agrees because he's Muslim, so he doesn't drink. So he said, yeah, all right, I'll come over, but I didn't tell him that the flatmate was watching it. I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to let them, for the first time ever, sit in the lounge and watch something on TV and just be part of this household together. And there's no reason that they wouldn't get along well. So that's what we did. We watched the grand final and we started to watch it early, and Huss went to go and get some takeaway from the halal shop, so we had some delicious curry chicken, and my flatmate made her, she usually has a mega bowl of steamed vegetables for dinner, and we started to try and watch this football game at 5 o'clock on Saturday evening, and the game didn't start till 7, so not so much of a problem, but because it's been winter and because we're in lockdown, we all go to bed so early. You know, we wake up really early and go to bed really early, so we're tired really early. Yes, so anyway, the game was still going at like 9 or 9:30, but by then we were so tired that my flatmate and I just ended up being so tired we just started saying the most deliriously stupid things. And we were just laughing our heads off so much. So it was a really good night, considering we've all been so segregated and isolated. It was really good to have just a normal night. It was normal. I've got a knot in that. How does it even happen? Let's see if I can get it through. These are all coming off. I'm going to do something. I'll just leave that knot there at the back like that. Anyway, it was a really, really good night, you know, when you've been doing nothing. Oh my goodness, it's so nice to socialise. So what am I doing? I think I'm going to do some French knots to hold that bit down that's not really worked with the bond web. Don't know why it didn't work. So anyway, what also was good was because we're all reasonably sensitive, both my flatmate, me, Lily, It's actually not necessarily good for us to be isolated in some ways. It's better. So it was really good to get my flatmate out of her bedroom. She's been hibernated there for a couple of weeks. I don't think she's been very happy. So now that it's really getting into spring here, it's become a little bit more, you know, like she's getting out. She just went for a big bike ride, getting out and about, waiting to hear back whether or not she's been accepted for a job down in Tasmania, which will really be good for her, get her out, and she'll be able to go hiking in the forest and being on her own, etc. Yeah, anyway, that was a really good weekend. Now I'm just noticing these are lifting up. So for me, the Bonder web hasn't been a really good, maybe it's old, maybe it doesn't work so well if it's old. I don't know. I don't know enough about this stuff. I'm just learning as I'm going. I don't know anything about anything, honestly. All right. Bit of pistol stitch. Hopefully I don't take away too much from the purpose of it by doing too many stitches over the top. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe if I do too many fancy stitches, it might detract from what the purpose is, which is, my goodness, I really don't have any words today. Just put this on fast forward. Appliqué. Appliqué is the word. That's, oh my goodness me. I don't even know where I am this week. I've had a headache for 4 days. I always do have a reaction to the vaccine. So a week after, I often have headaches, sort of slightly flu-like symptoms, because I am super sensitive to anything and everything. So makes sense. But oh boy, I'm really happy. I'm happy that now I feel like I'm just actually needing to sew them all down because they're lifting. Oh my goodness, okay. I am happy that I don't have, because I have anxiety, I'm happy that I don't have the anxiety of all the issues about travelling, because I love travelling, and I actually am thinking that I'm a bit happier to know that I've had the vaccine and that I can just go and travel again. So Huss wants to go back to Somalia because his sister died at Christmas time. And I'm trying to, he says it's too dangerous for me to go as a white person. And in fact, he finds it's too dangerous for him and he doesn't like it, but his mum won't ever leave Somalia. She won't come to Australia to live with him, but the thing is he's got 6 other brothers and sisters. Well, only 5 now, because his eldest sister died. But his eldest sister's daughter is living in London, so the way that Somalians do it, everything's family first. He has to go get his niece from London and take her home to visit his mum, because family's everything, and since her mother died, it's just, you know, that's what you do. Spend more time with family. Anyway, the point of that little ramble, oh my goodness me, I'm all over the shop today, is that I said, well, I understand that it's maybe not good, but my family's in England and London, and so maybe when we go, I could come too, and we could go to London and have some time together there, and we'd be able to stay at his sister's, so it makes it cheaper for accommodation. His niece, sorry. And you can pop over with the niece to Somalia to see your mum and your sisters and brothers that are left. And I can visit my family in England. So there's a possibility that we're doing that. Anyway, so the point is that being fully vaccinated, London and England is now letting in. So where Australia's green, so in the UK, I believe they're letting in green countries, and if you're double vaccinated, you don't need to do quarantine and stuff like that. So that is looking. I'm not going to get excited about it because he might just go himself. He didn't realise that I thought that if he went on his own, he wasn't interested and he didn't want to hang out with me. It's funny the way our brains work. Because I would only ever travel for a few months without my partner if I didn't want to be with my partner anymore. And he was surprised that was what I thought. It's funny, isn't it? Learning a whole. I wasn't going to talk about partners on my YouTube anymore because I was thinking, how unprofessional am I being? But then I went, you know what? This is life. What else is happening? Okay. So ideally for me, if I was travelling to England, I would go in our winter and visit my rallies in their summer. However, I think because Huss's sister died not that long ago and he hasn't been able to travel up to now, the fact that he might be able to travel from... Actually, someone he knows has already gone back to Somalia, so the fact that he might be able to travel pretty soon means that he's talking about going just before Christmas, and I said that doesn't work for me. I feel like I'm really controlling, but it's like when you've been single for a really, really long time and you've never had Christmas with anyone, when you've actually got a partner, if they're going to go just before Christmas, I'm like, oh no, that doesn't work for me. If I have a partner, they're there with me at Christmas, seeing my family. And your family's coming over for the tree decorating, even though they are Muslim and don't believe in it. Lily said I shouldn't expect that. But I said it's all to do with it's not a religious ceremony to me. Like when you get together, when the girls come and we decorate the Christmas tree. Oh, and also Huss's eldest daughter has a little 3-year-old, so well, you know what? I actually might finally get to be a grandma. My God, I don't know what I'm waffling on about today. Just waffling on. It's like I haven't talked to anyone for ages. Right. And I think, you know what? That little girl, she'll want to come and decorate our tree. And then Lily and Liz need a pseudo-daughter without having children because they don't want any. How's that? Isn't that perfect? Get to have a little granddaughter without having to have a granddaughter, if you know what I mean. Oh, gee. Okay, I will stop waffling on now. let's stay with this pink. Right, 2 of these. Anyway, even though, back to the trip to London, even though I haven't been for a couple of years, and I usually go in summer, I was thinking, well, why wouldn't you go in winter? Like, I don't like winter. I think it's too cold. I really don't like it. I just don't like cold at all. But you know what? Would it be romantic? Like, if you go in winter, even if you leave here on Boxing Day or something, and because I'm not going before Christmas, because family is important. Right, where was I? I mean, it might be actually nice to sort of maybe have a snow Christmas. I've always thought that would be quite romantic. Just don't really want to be cold. And I was mentioning to him that if we did it, it would be not very romantic to catch the overnight train to Paris in the middle of winter and be freezing, but it might be interesting if it snowed to go up onto the top of the Eiffel Tower. That might be quite a spectacular photo opportunity. Anyway, who knows? We'll see what happens. Can't get too ahead of myself, but my passport is ready to go. My bag's ready to go. I can pack at a moment's notice. Because how much do we want to travel? Oh my goodness. Oh, anywhere. Just get out and go anywhere, somewhere, away from the mad crowd. The mad COVID. Melbourne's most livable city went to Melbourne's worst ever. Worst ever lockdown. Longest lockdown? Harshest lockdown for the longest time. Thanks, Melbourne. So in a week or two, when it comes to the lockdowns, really terrible about this storyline. I'm going backwards and forwards. So we're waiting for our 70% double vaccinated numbers, and we are almost there. They say October the 26th will be when we've got 2 double vaccinations for the lockdown. Will go from, we're allowed to go 10 kilometres, and the lockdown will go I think Lily said this morning they're just about to say we can now go 15 kilometres from maybe tomorrow night, or usually it's a Thursday night, so today's Monday and I'm making for my tomorrow for Tag Tuesday. So generally it goes Thursday to Thursday, so our next announcement will probably be this Thursday. So 15k, and Lily's happy because that means she can go to the beach, because her beach is just out of her 15k. We all just say, oh, just want to go for a walk on the beach, just, fresh air. When you don't live near the beach and you're in lockdown and you're on the other side of the city, just want to be able to go for a bit of a wander on the beach, fresh salty air. All right, how are we looking here? This feels a bit weird now that that's got nothing, but you know those little dots there. Oh my goodness. Hang on one sec, that cat. Meow, meow, meow. Right, these little dots. here. Unfortunately, wood end is still not within the 15k. I think it's 20k to wood end, unfortunately. Although, like I said, I think, did I? Maybe I didn't. Last, been thinking about converting my garage into a studio, so I'll have to bring back the stuff from wood end to do that. That was a bit of a loosey-goosey one. Alright, now I can see that that is still poking up. Maybe I have to do what Anne does and do a wobble gobble on the side. Oh my goodness. But you know, you're just stitching. Maybe I should go live. Maybe I should just do it live so that at least people say things in the comments to talk about. I don't know, I've never done a live. Maybe challenge accepted or not. Should I challenge myself with it? I don't know. I don't like the concept of it really. Wait and see. All right, this is applique my way with all the stuff on the top. Got to use the Bonder web. Not that impressed with it because it's pulled up everywhere. There it is. All right, let's finish this one off. Very frayy material. I like it though. Don't mind a fray. Right, let's see. How are we here? I think that's it. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I think it's all got to be absolutely perfect, but the thing is it doesn't really have to all be perfect because we're learning things, and that's all right. And I think that's it. I really am all over the place today. I look forward to getting my brain back. It's very, very soon. Rightio. Okay, speak to you soon and lots of love and hugs and hope you're all well and see you in the next one. Okay, bye for now.